Welcome to Hack Your Happiness.
I won the first round of it, and that was quite unexpected. So I think from that moment was kind of when I thought that I wanted to do it as a career, and I pushed a lot harder from that moment.
Are you a teen or adult looking for more happiness in every day and ways to connect with people in your life?
You've come to the right place. Hack Your Happiness is a podcast designed to bring you the behind the scenes of what brings iconic individuals happiness, plus their life hacks.
I'm Mercedes,
And I'm Anastasia.
and we're the two teens behind Small Bits of Happiness.
We're interviewing Olympic athletes, entrepreneurs, celebrities, and more.
Throughout all of our episodes, you'll find great conversations, hacks that you can take away and try in your life, inspiration, as well as unique and surprising insights. Joining us today, we have Jessica Edgar. Jessica Edgar is a Formula One Academy race car driver. She's been racing since 2010 and since then achieved so much. In the past year, she's raced in Austria, Spain, the Netherlands, Italy, France, and Austin, Texas in the US. She is in 8th place in the championship, which is an incredible achievement and very impressive. Jessica's achievements are endless, and not to mention she's also an icon, encouraging more gender diversity in the sport.
As you know, all of the drivers in F1 are males, which then creates a little bit of a gender divide. And so F1 Academy has female drivers.
And that's just another reason why it's so incredible to have Jessica here with us today. Her talent is undoubtedly so inspiring and shown in all of her achievements. Also, Jessica is so young. She's 17, meaning that she's only a little bit older than us, so it's so inspiring to see somebody similar to our own age making such a big difference and achieving such incredible things. Welcome, Jessica.
Hiya.
So, you're currently an incredibly successful driver in the F1 Academy, but take us back to the beginning. How did your journey start?
So my journey started when I was 4 years old. It started because my family were into racing. My grandma and granddad used to race, and then my dad and my uncle. And then my cousin Johnny started, and then I started. And I started in karting, and then worked my way up the classes in karting, and then moved into cars last year, and then this year I was racing F1 Academy.
Wow, that's amazing that you've been doing it since you were so young
Yeah.
and that you found something that you're so interested in at such a young age.
Yeah, I definitely think that whenever you find something that you're really interested in, and especially if you find it when you're young and you're able to get really good at it, I think it's just so cool. So, throughout your journey, what has been the most significant challenge, and how did you overcome it?
I think the biggest challenge was moving from karting into car racing. It was a bigger step than we imagined. So it was quite hard to adjust from one to the other. So it took a bit of time to get used to a car from what I was used to before karting. So I think that was probably the most difficult thing I've had to overcome.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I think from the karting, which is a very different type of car, to the bigger car. But why did you find that to be such a big challenge?
Yeah, I think just the difference in cars to karting, like cars having suspension and like it's a different driving style. I just found it quite hard being all I'd done was karting, so that was all I was used to. Changing into cars was a big step, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like another adjustment, but it's just like another step along the journey. But in regards to having like a supportive community, it can be difficult to find a community who supports you, but it's so important. So who were the people or organizations that played a large role in your development as a driver?
Yeah, I think this year Road and Carlin have put a lot of support into me, and have helped me from when I started with them in January. And from where I started in January to where I am now, I'm a different driver. So they've helped me massively throughout the year, just improving like in every aspect of it, like from the driving to the media side as well.
That's
Yeah.
great, yeah.
I mean, being a driver is not only just being in the car, but it's also like all the outside preparation as well as having to handle the media as well as interviews and everything. So, because of that, what some of the training and mental strategies that you use to compete at such a high level, especially as a teenager, and how can teens use these in their daily life?
Yeah, I think you have to do a lot of training, like going to the gym and things, which is good to do in normal life, just to keep on top of your fitness and stuff. And then mentally, it can be quite hard as well, like keeping focused when there's a lot of other things going on, which is also things that happen in real life. So I think a lot of skills that we use to go racing can also be used in real life as well.
Yeah, totally. There's like a lot of, I think sometimes people look at athletes or drivers and they say, oh, they have such a different lifestyle from me. But there's a lot of like related things and correlations in just a regular teenager, or if you're interested in a different sport or have a different hobby, and being an F1 Academy driver. And you're right. So what's something that helps you like stay focused?
It's something that I've always had just from racing since I was little. It's just something that I've always had, and I've never really need to like train that side of it. I think I've just needed to train my fitness and work on the driving part. My mental side hasn't really been too much of an issue for me.
Yeah, probably especially because you've been doing it since you were so little that it's kind of a part of your like life. Do you have any really memorable experiences or breakthrough moments that you felt that you were really like finding your people and getting more recognition?
Yeah, I think when I was in karting, when I moved up to do the British Championships, I come from just racing like once a month, with just me and my dad. And when I moved to do the British Championships in karting, and I won the first round of it, and that was quite like unexpected. So I think from that moment was kind of when I thought that I wanted to do it as a career, and like I pushed a lot harder from that moment.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So when you're training, what kind of fitness do you usually do?
Usually I go to the gym with my cousin Johnny. It's a lot of weightlifting really. Different things every day. It's like usually classes on for other people as well. So that's what me and my cousin do, yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so it can be, so being an F1 Academy can be really competitive and demanding. So what motivates you to keep going and following your dream? And what advice would you give to teens to stay motivated throughout their teenagehood?
Yeah, I think what keeps me going is the fact that I want to win. And to win, you have to put a lot of effort in. So it keeps you motivated to put the effort in, because in the end, you're getting something out of it. I think the advice I give is to just keep trying your best, keep putting effort into everything you want to achieve, and you will achieve it.
I love that. And it's like, don't give up. Sometimes it might be difficult, but if you look in the long term, like think of the reward of that comes with hard work and that comes with not giving up. And I mean, you've been doing this for so long, since you were so little, and it's amazing to see like how you can grow from being a 4-year-old all the way to being an F1 Academy in like a big car. It's so amazing.
And so winning is totally kind of like a mental strength. So do you have any kind of tips with that?
I think for me, it just comes naturally from doing it from such a young age. But I think you just, when you're driving, you have to just make sure you keep focused and keep your head and not let it go. Otherwise, you'll start making mistakes and you won't win.
I mean, definitely, I think that like once you kind of start letting those like the outside noise come in, it can be kind of hard to get back on track, and then you start making all these little mistakes.
Yeah, and I think that that's so applicable in like other situations as well. If you are trying to a different sport, like say like basketball or soccer, if you're trying to, score a goal and you keep thinking about how you could mess up, it might kind of mess with your mental state. Or even if you're doing something totally different from sports or athleticism, say you're trying to get a role in a play, or you're trying to start a business, or you're trying to, I don't know, anything that
or even if you're like writing a test and you start thinking, what if I get all these questions wrong? It's kind of like starting to mess with your brain, and
you gotta just focus on how can I do this right instead of how might I mess it up, kind of focusing on just the positive. What are your top 3 tips to teens to find the people who support them and encourage them?
Being part of a good team is really important. If you don't get on with the people that you have to work around, then usually you're not going to do the best you can do, and that works in everything as well. Like at school, if you don't like your teachers, you're not particularly good at that lesson. So I think it's important in every sport, everything you do, that you need to be getting on with the people around you to be able to do the best job you can do with whatever you're doing, really.
Yeah, totally. And I think that there's this thing, a saying that you are the sum or the average of the 5 people that you're around.
Yeah.
And I think that's so true when it comes to school or it comes to racing. The people that are on your team, the people that are instructing you or coaching you, they have such a large influence, especially when you're young, that like removing yourself from toxic environments, like even if you're at school and you're trying to achieve a good grade in a certain course or a certain class, if you are hanging out with the people who don't care to study, who don't care to do their work, it's a much different outcome than if you're with the people who are in study groups and who prioritize doing well. And that can apply, of course, to racing.
Just being around people who are like similar to you and dedicated, but also people that you kind of admire, which then helps bring you up. So do you have a specific motivational quote that you love and remember? And if you do, why?
I just think about winning. That keeps me motivated. I want to win, so if I keep pushing, then I will achieve the outcome. And I think you've just always got to think that you need to try your best if you want to achieve whatever outcome you're wanting to achieve.
I love that. Yeah, just kind of thinking about the goal and just going for it.
Exactly.
Not letting the outside noise come in. What do you do every day that brings you a small bit of happiness?
I think racing, anything to do with racing, brings me a bit of happiness every day. Most days I do something to do with racing, so.
That's awesome that you're so passionate about that. Do you have any advice that you wish you could give your younger self?
I think you've just got to try your best in everything that you do and try and achieve your goals.
Yeah, totally.
Do you have like anything exciting? I know that you just did so well in the
Austin. Yeah, so do you have any other things coming up?
Hopefully I'm going to be racing in Abu Dhabi in a couple of weeks. Doing the support race there with F1 in the UAE F4. And then we'll have to see we haven't quite got any plans for next year yet. I would like to stay in F1 Academy, but we'll have to see whether that comes off or not.
Awesome. That's very exciting.
Well, yeah, we hope to see you in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, so do you have anywhere where our listeners can find you if they want to keep up and see what you're up to?
Yeah, just my Instagram or my Facebook, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we can link those in the show notes so that they can follow along. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Hack Your Happiness.
My biggest takeaway from Jessica today is that if you want something badly enough, you can make it happen. She talked about how her biggest motivation is just how she really wants to win and, kind of forge that way for women in F1. And I think that that's such a great thing to keep in mind, that if you can kind of just focus on your goal, it makes it so much easier to block out the outside noise.
What I took away most from what Jessica was talking about was that finding a supportive network is so important for becoming a better person, a better driver,
a better version of yourself,
and honestly can really impact you, because when you're surrounded by people who uplift you and inspire you, you honestly become more like those people,
because you kind of want to live up to their expectations, whereas if you are surrounded by people who
pull you down, you kind of become more like them instead of the people that you want to be.
We're very malleable as people, and we kind of shape into what environment we're in. So when you're surrounded by people like Jessica was talking about today, surrounded by people that are inspiring, who support you as a community, as a team, and encourage you to be the best version of yourself because they're also striving to become the best version of themselves, it helps you.
I think one of the biggest pulls from that is just that if you just don't connect with a teacher or a coach, it's totally okay to switch schools, switch classes, maybe join a different team, because if you have a connection with a person or your mentor, you're just going to be able to be so much better and you're going to be able to learn better.
So basically, I think one of the biggest takeaways from today is be around people who support you but also inspire you. So not only do they support you as who you are, but they inspire you to become a better version of yourself.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a 5-star review. It really does make an impact so we can continue bringing you these amazing and iconic interviews.
Also, make sure to join our happiness family by following this podcast on whichever platform you're listening so that you don't miss our next iconic interview. See you next time!